We felt we needed to address it. This year has started out on a morbid note with the terror attack in New Orleans and the Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas. Now, these attacks hit home with me as it reminds me of my last few years in London. You know, those same types of people embarked on a reign of fear and terror as they did the same thing, driving automobiles into people as well as killing as many as possible before the authorities arrived. Now, a popular tourist destination called the Borough Market in London, well, that was a big target, similar to New Orleans and Bourbon Street. Lots of revelers and little security, a pretty soft target. The fun ended when a truck and its occupants did the same thing as what happened in New Orleans. And these things tend to shake your core beliefs, but that's what they're meant to do, right? So how or what can everyday Americans do to cope and move forward after events like this? Well, Middle America is stronger than most people know. It's the backbone of this country, and there are a lot of things that the rest of the country could draw upon that come straight from the quote-unquote flyover states. Now, my next guest, she might have a few suggestions, too. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Carol Swain. Doctor, thanks for being on and joining the show today. Kind of a rough start to the year. Where do you take your hope from?
Well, I mean, I'm a person of faith, and so I always take my hope from the promises of the Judeo-Christian Bible. And I also take hope from the fact that I know that the overwhelming majority of my fellow Americans are decent people and that they care about others. They don't condone violence. They believe in living and let live. And so it encourages me to know that when we see violence, such as what you described, that it is coming from a minority of people. Hopefully, we can restore law and order in this country and turn things around. But what has happened over the last couple of days, I warned about Islamic violence in the United States increasing in an opinion piece January 15th, 2015. So it was 10 years ago that I issued an op-ed piece that radically changed my life because it put into motion the circumstances that resulted in my leaving academia with early retirement.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously hit the nail on the head, and you hit the nail on the head 10 years earlier. And again, my anecdotal evidence, what I saw happening in London with the soft targets there, I just felt as though, and unfortunately, I felt as though there's only time, only time will tell that they're going to move a lot of that stuff over here. And I hate to say this, Dr. Swain, but I don't think this is going to be the end of it in the short term. Maybe in the long term it can be, because we've pulled ourselves to every different corner of our own country because we've let 10 million people come in the country that we're trying to keep track of. That's going to take time and resource. We've cut funding to a lot of the police departments. That's going to take up more time and resource. I mean, we're not really giving ourselves a fair chance to kind of put a lot of these things to bed earlier rather than later.
Scott, I think there's even more to it because the military was destabilized, when it was purged during the Obama administration. And I would say that now we have these ex-servicemen that are behind some of the terrorist attacks. They got radicalized, and maybe some of them got radicalized at home, but the military now pushes diversity, equity, inclusion, critical theory, critical gender theory, all of these Marxist-based critical theories. And so it's not really training people to put love of country, love of people above extreme ideas.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking to me that some of these people are ex-military, where they were actually out there helping to fight terrorism, and now they actually become caught up in it and are part of the problem.
I think our training is part of the problem. When West Point and our academies started teaching Marxism, what do you expect? And they've had probably the military has been moving in the wrong direction for more than 10 years, and so we're just seeing the fruits of what's taken place. And so not only is the U.S. military weakened when it comes to protecting domestic security as well as our soldiers overseas, but it affects every institution. The enemies are within.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. and that's going to make it a lot harder to kind of right the ship. Dr. Swain, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much for getting our year started off on the right foot. Thank you. You're a fan favorite. Everybody loves you. We love you, too, and we really appreciate all your content all last year. Thank you very much. All right, Dr. Swain. Let's move along here. Dial up the old cow phone and see what we've got in store for us when we bring up that. Russ in Nebraska.